you up!
Please.
Today is the wrong day to pick a fight. I'll teach you a lesson, you prat. I've had enough of your shit.
I am not afraid to defend myself. Fuck! Fuck you.
Possible suspect or suspects reported near your location.
Moving inbound to hostile.
Oh!
All units, force this suspect to stop.
This is London Cool. You're listening to me, Tash, on Buccaneer, your source for what they do. This time we're turning our focus back on the media to look at my former employer, the GB. As we know, the broadcaster has been through a lot of changes since the Hassani government gave in to pressure from his corporate backers and privatised the corporation. Today, the GBB is a shadow of its former self. It's become a tool used by the government to circulate fake news and misinformation. So how did we get here? Where did it all go wrong? How can we tell when our national media has become state propaganda? Our experts speak on conditions of analytics for their own safety. Here's disinformation and media expert Chance, who's seen free broadcasters built up by journalists and torn down by demagogues all over the world.
So before the media fragmented, there was this
Control, I can't see the suspect. Please advise.
And worthy of trust. Then what we ended up with is a really commercial model where whether you're talking about an app on a
Received.
whether you're
Returning to
talking
HQ.
about
Over.
a broadcaster, the most important thing was to keep you in that environment for the longest amount of time possible. And because that meant money in their pocket. And in order to do that, a couple of things happened. One was the use of manipulative techniques around behavioral economics, things that would just keep you scrolling or keep you listening or keep you looking for more information. The second
Auto-drive now
is
enabled.
that kind of environment
Auto-drive now
favors
disabled.
sensationalism. And so you got more sensational headlines and more sensational stories, and it didn't matter whether they were true or not. It just kept people in, and it kept them in the loop. So we ended up in a situation where nobody trusted anything, and nobody believed anything at all. And that is the perfect environment for an authoritarian voice to come in and say, no way, we are the truth. The ground for this environment really got created when we had suddenly authoritarian politicians and everything that threatened them or they disagreed with, they would call it disinformation. That's disinformation. That's fake news. And again, we got in a situation where nobody really believed anything. And the trouble is if you were telling the truth, it's very hard to get your message to cut through all of the noise of all of the disinformation. Because so like, you remember out on the edges, there was this story about when they were
Auto-drive now enabled.
by force, they would take any incident, they would crucify them. And that's a great, fantastic, viral story. How do you counter that story? With the truth. The only way you can counter it is by saying, no, they didn't. And of course, no one wants to spread that story. No one wants to hear that story. They want to hear the sensationalism. They want to hear how people were victims of violence when in fact they weren't. Or they were victims of insurgent hordes.
Suspects reported in your area, potentially armed and hostile.
Control, we have a visual on the suspect.
Suspect has a gun. I say again, suspect has a weapon over.
Here's media researcher and
Auto-drive
Suspect is
totalitarian
unsighted.
countries have
Unsighted,
typically
sweeping
used
area.
huge mainstream media outlets to sell one kind of news, one kind of biased news to its population. Of course, the media has always played this kind of key role in methods of state control.
Search units,
I
disengage.
think what's happening
This
now
search
is
is
perhaps
pointless.
even more concerning, where you've previously been pre-crisis Britain, we had perhaps more diverse voices in the media, but now with the GBB, you're really only seeing one brand of news, and therefore only getting one truth. So people end up with a very biased and controlled idea of the reality and the world that we're actually living in. There was, of course, many concerns and many problems, but in a way there were some positive things, that not all information was coming from one place, and so you'd have kind of far-right media outlets developing, and then left-wing media outlets developing to combat those, and kind of challenge the mainstream newspapers, TV stations, radios, and make sure people were questioning the validity and truth of the information they were receiving. So whilst the digital afforded more fake information, it also makes us suspicious and sceptical of information, and makes us question the information we're getting. I think in pre-crisis Britain, it might not have seemed good at the time, but there was something positive about that there was a lot of distrust in the media and in the different kinds of truths that are being told. Whereas now, I think you're seeing a return to a more traditional and older pre-digital sense, actually, of people just trusting what they're told, and that's why we have to be here with radio stations like this to challenge those conceptions. Most citizens are pretty hopeless, I think, and unable to fight back against these kind of huge mainstream corporations that simply entrench and support the ideals and ideologies of the state. It can seem very hopeless indeed. I think, the fact that you're out there listening, we're in here talking, shows that there is still a space to combat these false truths and disinformation that's being sold to us, and that it's never possible really to completely shut down, despite all the technologies that they have at their disposal, and all the financial and corporate power, and all the physical power. It's never quite possible to shut down people's desire to get to the truth and fight for their own ideologies and values, and we're out here starting that task, so don't give up hope.
You've been listening to Buccaneer with me, Tash. We'll be back soon with more of what you'll never hear. Keep listening, keep sharing, and keep resisting. You're listening to The Buck.
You have arrived at BrokerTech, lead innovators in software and AI technology, founded by its CEO, Sky Larson, when she was just 25. Talk about an overachiever.
So, this is where they put all the nasty shit our objects record us saying. We should put it all online, except for, my stuff.
I believe that's exactly what our 404 friend has in mind.
Copy that.
Engaging target.
Taking fire here!
You're not getting out of this.
I'm out!
Neutralizing hostile.
Your friend's just been taken into Albion custody. So long as you don't cock up that badly, you'll be my favourite operative today.
I suppose I'll continue doing everything myself then.
And every resistance that I've ever seen has
weaker than the British pound. I feel like hope is an expensive thing to buy these days.
And is it all totally pointless? It can feel pointless, and I get my friends almost all of my life doing pointless things like watching sport, thinking about sport, thinking about watching sport, learning French and hoping for a better future. All completely pointless. But yeah, I've done them, so we might as well.
Reports of a hostile in your area, over. Received. Responding to the situation now.
Going into check. Get ready.
Putting an end to the chase now.
Just surrender.
Activity will result in arrest.
Immobilize that vehicle.
Surrender yourself.
Control. We're in pursuit.
Jesus Christ, I got a really serious vibe power on my arse.
Cease and desist, or you will be restrained.
Received. Ramming the suspect.
Driving into the vehicle.
Auto drive now enabled.
Control, we are pursuing the target. Suspect just
Auto drive now enabled.
We've been hit. Massive collision.
Control, we're pursuing the suspect.
Where did they go? Shit. Received, we are in pursuit. Total the target's vehicle.
Hit the suspect.
Control, we are pursuing the suspect. Going in for a tactical ramp. Returning to an accident, stand by. Be advised, we are on the trail.
target. Over.